Hello, this is a video for the notes on equations of circles. Today we're going to be talking about the equations of circles. The standard equation of a circle. An equation for a circle with center at HK and a radius of R is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So HK is our center, R is the radius, and this is how we put it in our formula. Let's keep in mind the formula and we'll do an example here. Write an equation for a circle with center -1, 3, and radius r. So our h is -1, our k will be the 3, and the radius is 6. So here's our circle formula, and we're going to substitute in our -1 and our 3 and our 6. And so now we simplify, and we're going to do our turn our double negative into a +1, our y minus 3, and we'll square the 6. So when we simplify, the only things we need to simplify are our double negatives and squaring the radius. Okay, so now let's look at the exercises. We're going to write the equation of each circle. So our center is at HK, which is right here, HK, and our radius is the 5. So we're going to substitute our formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. All right, so we're going to substitute in our h and k. So x minus, and then the h is -2 squared, plus y minus k is 3 squared, and then our radius is 5, and we're going to square that. And then we simplify. So our double negative is going to be x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 25. All right, let's look at the next one. And we have our formula right here. So we'll start here. We have our h, our k, and our r. So substitute them right in. We have x minus -1 squared plus y minus -4 squared equals 2 squared, the radius. All right, so that simplifies to x plus 1 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 4. All right, let's do another one. All right, so here we have our center at -2, 6, but our diameter is 8. So that makes our radius equal to the diameter divided by 2, so that would make it a 4. So we'll substitute our hk into the formula. So x minus h, so that's -2 squared, plus y minus k, which is -6 squared, equals our radius 4 squared. And we simplify, getting rid of our double negatives and squaring the radius. All right, so our center is at the origin now. Our HK, that makes our HK 0, 0. And then our diameter is 4, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, and that's our radius. Okay, so plug it into the equation. X minus h, which is 0, quantity squared, plus y minus 0, quantity squared, equals 2 squared. All right, so the other thing we do need to simplify, so I'll put it up at the top, is zeros. So we don't need to write x minus 0. We can literally just write the x squared plus the y squared. And that equal to 4. And so this would be the equation for that circle. All right, let's look at this last problem here. This is center at 3, -4, so this is our HK. And then we have we don't have our radius, but we do know that it passes through a point. So if we have a center and a point on the circle, then we can find the distance between them and get the radius. So one way to do it is to graph it. So if I sketch a little graph right here, and I see that I'm at 3, -4, and that's my center, and the point is on -1, -4, then I know that this is my radius, and since it's horizontal, I can literally count that that is 4 units apart, and so that's my radius. And now we can just write our equation. So we'll plug it into our formula. X minus h, h is 3, plus y minus k, and the k is -4, squared, equals our radius squared. And rewrite by simplifying x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 16. All right, let's do another example. On this one, we have our center, which is our HK, and then we have to find the radius. So let's do a quick little sketch and see if we can just count that. So 0, 3 is here, and that's our center, and then it passes through 2, 0. All right, so this is not horizontal or vertical, so we need to use the distance formula, or we can use the Pythagorean theorem. I like to do the Pythagorean theorem. So here I have 2 is the distance here, and then the 3 is the distance here. So R is going to be my hypotenuse of this right triangle. So R is equal to the hypotenuse, which is equal to the square root of 3 squared plus 2 squared. So we have the square root of 9 plus 4, and so R is equal to the square root of 13. So now I can substitute it into my formula. X minus h, which is 0, square that, plus y minus 3, square that, and then I have the square root of 13 squared. And then I simplify out my 0, x squared, plus y minus 3 quantity squared, and the square root of 3 squared is just 13. All right, sometimes I'm going to be given a picture and told to write the equation. All right, so here I know that my center, I got to find the center, so that's at -2, -1. And then my radius, if I go horizontally, I can see that it's a 2. So I can literally just write out my equation. X minus h, and the h is a -2, squared, plus y minus k, which is a -1, squared, and that equals to my radius squared. Simplify my double negatives. Square the radius, and I have the equation of my circle. All right, let's do that again. Here I have a circle. I got to find the center. So my center is at 1, 3. And that's my HK. My radius, horizontally here is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll write out our formula. X minus h, which is 1 squared, plus y minus 3 squared equals the radius, which is 3 squared. So all I really have to do is square my radius here. Okay, so now let's talk about graphing the circles. If you're given an equation and you can find information to help you graph the circle. So on my first one, I have my formula, which is x minus h. So this is a double negative here. So I know my h, or my center, is going to be the opposite of this and the opposite of this. So I have the center at -3, -1, and then my radius is going to be the square root of 9, which is 3. So now I plot my center, -3, -1, and I have a radius of 3. So if I put points, at least 4 points here, oops, not there, 1, 2, 3, then I might be able to draw a pretty decent circle, maybe. And there's the graph of the circle. Okay, for each of these, I'm going to state the coordinates of the center and the measure of the radius, then graph the equation. Okay, so my HK, since there's no numbers here, I know it's x minus 0 and y minus 0. So my center's at 0, 0. My radius is the square root of 16, so that would make it a 4. So I plot my circle at 0, 0 is the center, and I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4 mark a few radius here. Remember, it's not a straight line to each one of these points. I'm going to curve it around, try to make a nice circle. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, remember our HK is always the opposite of these, because the formula has x minus h and y minus k. We always want to find the opposite here. So my center is going to be 2 and 1, at 2, 1. All right, and then my radius is the square root of 9, and so it's 3. So at 1, 2, 1, here's my center. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I try to make these nice curves that make it look like a nice circle. Do the best you can. And they don't always look perfect. All right, last one. So I've got my center at -2, 0. Because I got the h from here and the k here, which there isn't one, so it's 0, and then the square root of 16 again is 4. So at -2, 0, I plot the point, I count 4 each way, and that way I can make my curves and make my circle be somewhat roundish. And there we go.